Hey, my name is Bailey Weiser. I am the owner of Hello Jude Photography, a newborn and family photography studio located in North Georgia. And welcome to my studio space. Nestled in the North Georgia mountains in downtown Clarksville is our 1955 old fixer-upper home. When we purchased this home, we had no idea the potential that this space would hold. And a few years back, when I transitioned from full-time wedding photography to full-time newborn photography, we decided to convert the spare living room and a spare bedroom into my studio space to serve my clients in. And so after a lot of hard work and sweat and dedication, we were able to transform the space into an area that can serve my clients really well and still allow me to be close to my kids as I'm a mom of 4 little ones. So my studio space was actually done in several phases. When I first decided that I wanted to convert this space, I had already painted the walls. But other than that, there was not much division between that and the rest of my house. And so my husband, being as handy as he is, was able to create separation between the rest of our home and the studio space by putting in some French doors and by tearing down some walls and putting in other doorways and things like that. So it was really helpful to be able to have someone like him who knew how to do all that. And I pretty much just had to show him my ideas in sketches and let him run with it. One great thing about this space is that there is a lot of natural light that pours into this half of the house. And so throughout the day, this room stays really well lit, which is great for morning portraits, for afternoon portraits, or evening portraits. And so I don't really have a time constraint on when I'm able to photograph in this space because the lighting is just really beautiful throughout the entire day. Having a studio located in my home has its challenges, but it's really exciting for me because I don't have to leave my family and travel a whole lot for sessions. And so it's a great option for you if you are wanting to create a studio space, but maybe you have little kids, or maybe you're just starting out with newborn photography and you don't have the cash flow to open your own studio or rent a space. This is a great option. So here are a couple things that I would look for if I was to either find a new studio space or create my own studio space. 1, lots of natural light. If you are wanting to be a natural light photographer and to photograph in throughout the day, it's very important to have big windows or French doors that you can open, pour some light in. So whether that's a spare bedroom in your home or a garage or just a room with some really great windows, that is super important. The second thing is the color of the walls. The color that I chose to paint my studio is Sherwin-Williams Snowbound. I tested lots of different whites in our home, just depending on, some light reflects on whites and it looks more blue, it looks more yellow. And this is the particular color that I found that didn't have any undertones in our home. And so I would challenge you, if you were wanting to paint your studio space or a room in your home to convert, that you would test several different whites before you decide. I love white because it creates a simple, clean, timeless feel to your photos, but it also doesn't have any color casting on your clients. And so I know that I can photograph my clients in this space and create a nice cohesive look to my sessions and my galleries, but I'm not having to edit out weird color casts that you might see if you're outside shooting in grass or on against a brick wall or things like that. So choose a good color for your studio space. Another thing is flooring. Maybe you don't have the luxury of putting in all brand new floor. One thing that I did when I started out is I had a piece of plywood that I put down that was textured to look like hardwood floor, but was a light color. Now in my studio, I have flooring that we put on top of our existing hardwood as a temporary solution for having lighter flooring. The one good thing about having light flooring is that it reflects, and so you don't have to worry again about some dark shadows being cast on faces and things like that. And it just looks clean and simple and non-distracting in your images. If you photograph babies on a beanbag, that is one thing. But if you photograph babies on a floor, you can also find at Lowe's or Home Depot different sheets of plywood or smaller pieces of wood that actually have different textures, or maybe beadboard or things like that if you're wanting to create a little different texture in your images. One more thing to think about when you're choosing a studio space is accessibility. Right now, my clients do have to walk up a few stairs to get into our studio space, but other than that, it is fairly easily accessible. Parking is great. We don't have to park and walk up a big hill. Everything is pretty centrally located. And so think about parents, especially if they are having to carry babies in car seats and things of that sort, that if you do have a second story location for a studio, that you do have a way for clients to easily navigate the stairs, or an option for them to enter a different way than having to climb a bunch of flights of stairs would be ideal. One amazing thing about my space is that I have actually 2 separate rooms. So I have one room that I've dedicated for doing all of my shooting in, which is the room that I'm sitting in right now. And then I have a secondary room, which you can see is through this door behind me. And that is where my client wardrobe is stored, where my office actually is. But it's a great space for maybe big brother or big sister to kind of hang out and play with blocks or toys or whatever it is that they would like while I'm photographing their baby brother or sister. It's a separate space where if kids need to have a snack or they need to chill out for just a minute, that they've kind of got their own space to do that without feeling overwhelmed in the shooting room. And it kind of gives them their own little space for independence to play. It's also great because my clients can actually get dressed in that room and not have to walk around for the bathroom or things like that. They can actually try on clothes and pull things off the rack in that room. There's a big mirror so that they can see what they look like. They can even walk in here and see what it looks like in this lighting. So everything is super conveniently located next to each other. Plus, if mom is getting professional hair and makeup done, that happens in that room next door. And usually when she's getting all dolled up, I take pictures of baby. And so baby boy or baby girl will be in here, and just an earshot away. If they start to fuss or cry, mom is nearby. She can even pop her head in and see what I'm doing. So it's really nice to have the spaces close, but separated by a little bit of a wall and a door. I love being able to offer my clients a client wardrobe experience. And one of the reasons why is because as a mom of 4, I know what it's like those first few days after having a baby, and your body's changing and there are fluids coming out of places, and you really don't want to get out and go shopping for new clothes because you know the clothes that you wore before you were pregnant don't fit you anymore. And you know the pregnancy clothes that you did wear may not be the best thing for pictures. And so I love having plenty of options for my moms to come and choose and feel beautiful in something new and exciting, and not have to stress about taking their brand new baby out maybe to the mall or shopping online and not knowing if things are going to arrive in time or if they're going to fit. And so this is a great way. Plus you save some money, because in the long run, when you have to buy outfits for your entire family, it can be extremely costly, even if you're shopping in the most affordable stores. One of the things that I like to do with my clients before we pick out wardrobe is ask them, what do you plan to do with these images? If they don't have any plan, that's totally okay. But if they think that they would like to create a gallery wall in their living room, then I can have a conversation with them about, okay, what colors are in your home? If you've got a blue living room, maybe we don't want to do a pink dress or a purple dress. Maybe we want to stay with something more neutral that will kind of be cohesive with the colors in their home. And so having that kind of mindset when I'm going in ahead of time will help alleviate the stress for my clients when they decide that it's time to print and display the artwork in their home. There are a few things that I would do differently if I were to start over again with finding a studio space. One would be that we would have added a bathroom located directly next to my studio. One of the disadvantages, especially when I photograph toddlers that are potty training, is that my clients have to go into the side of our home that one of our bathrooms is, and utilize that bathroom. It's not the end of the world. It is totally fine. However, it does add a lot of extra on my plate when I have to clean the rest of the house every day when I have sessions. And having 4 kids, it's very impossible to keep a tidy house all the time. So I would definitely add a bathroom to a new studio space if I were to redo it. Secondly, I would not texture the walls. Right now, the home that we are in my studio space, you can see my walls are old tongue and groove boards. And while they are beautiful and I love them, it can create a little bit of headache on my end when I'm editing because I'm having to make sure that those lines are straight in the photos. And if I'm taking photos from certain angles, sometimes it looks real wonky. And so that's one thing that I will change whenever I do build my own studio. Another thing that I would change is not having any outlets on my shooting wall. Right now, I have an outlet right in the center of my shooting wall that I have to edit out of every single photo I take just about. And so not having any outlets will be a number one priority for me when it comes to choosing a new studio space. One more thing that I would love whenever I do open my own studio space separate from our home is to have an individual client wardrobe room and office. So right now it works fine, but I do have to be aware that I don't have any contracts or any things lying out on my desk when I do have clients come in. And so even though I do feel like I keep a pretty tidy office, it's one of those things that I have to be extra cautious of for confidentiality and other reasons to not have things all over my desk when my clients are utilizing that space. Other than that, I love my studio space. It's great for lighting. It's conveniently located for most of my clients. It's easy to find. And like I said, it's really great to, one, not have to pay an additional mortgage or rent for a space. It's actually a tax write-off. So if you have a space in your home and you are using it for business purposes, talk to your person that does your taxes, because she will be able to give you a write-off on that for running your business out of it. And so that's a big perk in my book. But in general, opening a studio space does not have to be extremely intimidating. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start with what you have. If it's a spare bedroom, if it's a garage, if it's a shed, you can convert those spaces into beautiful areas for your clients. And they don't have to be super big either. I think that our studio space is probably 500 square foot, if that, maybe 400. And it's not the biggest space in the world, but it does great. And it's a separate space that my clients can enjoy and relax. And it still feels homey because it's located in our home. And it doesn't feel real stiff or intimidating. But I tell my clients, nothing in here is sacred. So their kids can run around and play. They can explore. They can get into things. And I am not worried about them messing anything up or breaking anything. And so it's great for their kids to have their own space. It's great for me to have my own space to shoot and to have a little bit of separation with my office and my shooting space. But in general, when you're opening a studio space, think about the lighting, especially if you're wanting to be a natural light photographer. Where are the windows facing? How many windows are there? Are they high? Are they low? Where will the sun pop in on faces? Where can you position your clients? Is there a blank wall that you can use, or is there a lot of stuff going on around you? So keep in mind those few things when you're deciding on a studio space.